Hey everybody, it's Jerry, and I'm going to show you how to make vegan, gluten-free cupcakes. So what we're going to do is start with our dry ingredients. We've got a big bowl here, and we're going to start with some brown rice flour, a cup and a half of brown rice flour. And then the same amount of starch. Now I have arrowroot starch. You can use other starches like potato starch, but we want the same amount, cup and a half of starch. Okay, then I'm going to put in baking powder. Now this is aluminum-free baking powder. Always use aluminum-free. And I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And that sounds like a lot, but for gluten-free and also vegan baked goods, we need a lot of baking powder to make it as fluffy as possible. So 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of xanthan gum. The last dry ingredient that we're going to use is sugar. Now I have some brown sugar. This is raw cane sugar, and I'm going to use a half a cup of sugar. Okay, then we're going to mix that all together really well. Okay, so now we've finished with our dry ingredients. Now we're going to start with our wet ingredients. We're going to start with 2 cups of rice milk. Okay, then we're going to add a half a cup of sesame oil, or you can use other vegetable oil as well. Okay, then we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, and then just mix that together really well. You can use beaters, electric beaters, if you want to mix it. Okay, and once that's mixed up really well, we can pour the batter into paper cupcake holders in a muffin pan like this. So this should make about a dozen cupcakes. Okay, so once you've got them all filled like this, try to flatten them out as much as possible. Just kind of flatten out the tops, because the xanthan gum tends to make the batter kind of hold a shape. So they may start out a little bit rounded on the top. You want to get them as flat as possible. So just kind of work them with a spoon or a knife and just kind of flatten them out as much as you can. And then bake them in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. And they should rise pretty well. And then we'll take them out and we'll frost them. Okay, we're back, and our cupcakes are out of the oven now. You can see that they've risen quite a bit. So we're just going to let those cool. In the meantime, we're going to make the frosting. And what I've done first is I've taken a cup of coconut butter. I talked about this in another video. It comes in a jar, kind of like peanut butter. And so I put it in a saucepan and heated it up till it's just a little bit melted, so that it's easy to work with, so it's nice and soft. And we're going to add to that 3 tablespoons of pure cane sugar, and a teaspoon of peppermint extract. Okay, and then just mix that all up really well. This is just a little bit too dry, so I'm just going to add a little bit of rice milk, just a touch, just to give it a smoother texture to it. Just a little bit more. Okay, then we're going to take the icing and we're going to put it into a small baggie. Okay, and then just sort of press that down and squeeze the air out of it. And it's great if you have one of these that you can just seal. And then we're going to let that cool until it's about room temperature. You don't want it to get too hard. If it starts to get too hard, then we're going to start to work with it before that point. But you want it to stay fairly soft so that we can use it to squeeze out. Basically, what we're going to do is cut the corner of the bag, and we're just going to use it like a pastry decorator. It's like the poor man's pastry tube. So we'll come back when this is cooled and we'll ice the cupcakes. Okay, so everything is pretty much cooled now, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the bag with the icing in it and just cut a little bit of the corner, just to make a little hole. And then we can use that to just squeeze the icing through to decorate the cakes, or the cupcakes. So you can do it in any kind of design you want. Okay, so we're done frosting the cupcakes. I unfortunately underestimated the amount of frosting I would need. So what you should do is double the amounts that I gave you earlier, because I only got about half the cupcakes with the amount of frosting I made. So here we have a dozen finished cupcakes. So try them yourself and try different flavors too. I used peppermint for the frosting. You could use any kind of flavoring that you like. And you can color them if you want for holidays and things like that. So try them yourself and enjoy.